Okay. I want to do a little thing on Australian hillbillies versus American hillbillies. What the differences are. I was pretty disappointed actually to find out a few things about American hillbillies when I started really digging in deep. I am not saying that all American hillbillies are like this, but after having seen things on the, White family, Jesco White, and all the other White family of Boone County, even the Darlene Chronicles. What a sad, sorry state, Don't for 1 second sit there telling me that it's not their fault. Entirely not their fault. Because I'm not going to believe that. I've seen, and I'm not saying that all hillbillies in America are like this, but I have seen in what I've viewed strong elements of what you guys call white trash in the States, and what we here in Australia refer to as ferals. Now, these sort of feral activities usually include basically a very big lack of respect for each other. This sort of mindset of drink yourself silly, party yourself silly, everything you say to each other is a threat, like, you do that, I'll bust your tail. If you don't get off that chair, I'll knock you off that chair. Sort of everything they say to their kids is always a blooming loud tones, yelling. They can't, like, even Darlene, I know when my sister disciplines her kids, she'll say, okay, this is for doing that, you're not to do that, bang, smacks them. It's none of this just blooming, just smack them without telling them what they've done wrong, sort of thing. And, always just threatening and carrying on. And then we've got these people over here too, but they are not considered hillbillies over here. They're considered ferals. They are in what we'd like to politically correctly call the low socio-economic areas. In other words, there's certain suburbs in the city that are full of white trash. And quite simply, that sort of stuff isn't associated with country people or hillbillies over here. And, I'll admit I've made moonshine myself, more because I like the technical processes, the science and the chemistry behind it, really the playing around with all the chemistry stuff. But, I'm not sitting there drunk out of my brains every weekend. The last time I got drunk was probably actually a couple of years ago. But what really gets up my arse is, like, some of the things I saw with Darlene Chronicles. Hats off to her for being able to save money for 20 years without flithering it away on other stuff. Save that money for 20 years and go out and buy a house in cash. Then I saw from 1987 to 1994 a big fat mate, Bob, trying to get her into a house. They had, charities, they're looking at grants, they're looking at welfare, trying to buy her or get her built a new house, and, get her built a brand new house that had indoor plumbing. Right. So you're saying that she saved up for 20 years and bought a house in cash, and then between 1987 and 1994, which is 7 years, She didn't have enough money to buy a pipe to go to the kitchen and a tap to put on the end. You shitting me? I mean, when they had the local newspaper turn up, the husband there, her husband, or I think it was the husband, one of them was outside with what I quickly identified, being an off-gridder and looking at RV stuff, I quickly identified, I know what that is. He's out there with the long drop toilet, or the pit toilet, whatever you want to call it, emptying out one of these cartridge, cassette, whatever you want to call it, from a chemical loo, or, you know, chem loo, whatever you want to call it. One of these chemical loos, the portable ones, he had that, and he was emptying that out into the pit toilet. I know, because I've seen these things, I know what shape these devices are and how they look, and I knew exactly what it was. And I'll tell you right now, over here, I don't know what the prices are in America, but over here, it's about 5 times the price of buying yourself and installing a proper toilet as it is to buy one of those chemical ones. Now, the larger chemical ones, which is sort of that one was, you know, the medium-sized ones, which that one was a medium size, those ones, I'm not joking, they will literally cost you, you know, maybe not 5 times as much, but quite a substantial amount more than what it will to put in a real dunny. So they got the money for one of them, but they didn't have the money to put in a real dunny. Oh, they had the money, just they went and spent it on one of them and then took it out of the long drop and poured it down there. But, oh, you know, these poor people, they got no indoor plumbing, blah, blah, blah. If you've got money to buy a house in cash, right, you've also got money to paint the damn thing, to maintain it, and you've also got money to be able to put a few pipes in. Now, you know, she may, you know, lose a job or this or that or whatever. And I know you're going, yeah, but just because you got money back then doesn't mean you got money now. I know. I've been in cases where I've had a very small amount of money at sometimes and a large amount of money at other times. But this is the whole thing. She's gone and bought this chemical loo, which is substantially dearer than putting in a real one, and then complains she doesn't have a real one. And you sort of sit there thinking, oh, God, like, you know, the biggest joke of the whole thing was she was living in hope of a new house being, but well, you're going to keep living in it. When you've got an existing house, how the hell do you think they're going to build you a new one? They'll build a new house for someone who has no house at all and is living in a tent. But they're not going to flame and give you a new house if you've already got an existing house. You know, you got to wake up to these sort of things, people over there. You know, everybody else would have worked that out. I asked my mum and she worked that out instantaneously. You know, would you think if you had an existing house and you were trying to get grants to be, you know, get funded for another one through welfare and grants and charity, you think they'd do it? And she's going, no way. Because you already got a house, you know, do it. But, you know, but all this sort of, you know, this decay of sort of non-stop partying, alcoholism, sort of, you know, just stagnation of life. It reminds me of what I've seen of things of East Germany in the latter years of the existence of the East German Republic. And they're just decaying and stagnating there and just, you know, I mean, you know, that was, you know, the White family, yes, but I look at Darlene. They showed her as a 50-year-old. I'm not joking. If you're in Australia and you looked as she looked when she's 50, you would be considered to be 65 to 68 years old. I'm not joking. And rightio, there's going to be ones that go, she's got a hard life, don't pick on her. You must have had a nice life, you overprivileged little bugger. I have had no indoor plumbing per se except a shower at one point, which did need every third day a generator dragged outside, carried outside, a 35 kilo generator, start that up and pump this, you know, water up to last me another 3 days worth of shower. But as for washing hands, doing dishes, all that sort of stuff, I literally had to bucket the damn water into my house. I also live with the only electricity being batteries in an LED lantern and a burnt out old car battery for the hot water system. So before you think I'm an overprivileged little bugger, and this woman's had to, I know she's had to live a hard life. She had to live the same hard life my uncle had to live, because regardless of the fact that he was a qualified carpenter, he didn't really get serious about fixing this house up and then complain about the wind blowing in and how cold it was in here. And, you know, as you've seen in some of my photographs about how my house was when my uncle died, you'll see there was cladding missing off the side of the house, and the rain would literally blow in on the floor of the house. So many people thought that when I moved in, I just literally just moved straight in, and they didn't realise how bad the house was and that I had to spend more or less a year fixing it before it was even up to a state that I could live here with bucket and water and LED lanterns, you know. But yeah, I don't like white trash at all. Neither do a lot of country people. They'll expect that if there's white trash that their handbag's going to go missing or the wallet's going to go missing. And I also give absolutely not one shred of pity to people who could have done better for themselves. You know, my uncle, would you believe it, had all the materials and the technical knowledge to fix his house up better, but didn't. Whether that was motivation, whether that was too much junk that he'd stored in the house so he just couldn't even move to get anything done, I don't know, but it never happened until I got the place. So yeah, that's you know, the difference. Some hillbillies with real big guts. We don't see that many, not with guts like that out here, you know, the real big guts like Darlene's mate Bob had. They don't really have that around here, not like that. Some of them do have the bad teeth though. My uncle had pretty bad teeth. They didn't look too bad, but I've seen people with the real shonky teeth like her daughter Tracy and stuff like that. But yeah, that's about that.